After the big reveal this week, I know the question that's on everyone's mind, and no, it's not whether I'll tell the YouTube auditor to go fuck himself. I do that every video, but everyone wants to know, what do I think about Advanced Warfare? And I'm going to get to Advanced Warfare for the majority of this video, but for this video, I am once again stuck with Scrubs, and it's going to be one of two videos this weekend in which I get thrown into a room in progress with a bunch of fucking idiots. In this video, we have Stuck with Scrubs, but tomorrow's video is not going to be a Stuck with Scrubs, and the reason for that is I have finally caught up to the amount of content I have leading up to the weeks Destiny is going to be releasing. So for each weekend from now on, there's going to be one Stuck with Scrubs video and one additional video from another source of content, whether it's going to be Ghost or some other shit that I'll have surprised. And look at this Congo line of idiots. Oh man, that was 2 free cheap kills up in this motherfucker. Now I'm going to try and set up this third person, and it's not going to work out in my favor, but you know what? What are you going to do up in this bitch? But like I was saying, man, every weekend from now on up until Destiny releases, we're going to have one Stuck with Scrubs video and one video completely different that's going to have some different content up in this motherfucker. It's not going to be Stuck with Scrubs, but it's most likely going to be some Call of Duty content, man. But anyway, Advanced Warfare, and I know a lot of people have been saying, what do you think about it and shit like that, and I just want to say this right off the bat. I have no ill will towards Sledgehammer. I already said this in yesterday's video with Modern Warfare 3. They got put in a shitty situation. There's no question about it. They were put in a situation to fucking fail. And the fact is, they failed. They were put behind a goddamn awful studio. They had to help Infinity Ward pick up all the pieces that they needed in their prior game and basically put out a shitty product in a rush time frame. It wasn't their fault. So when Activision announced that Sledgehammer was going to be getting the next Call of Duty game, I was sort of excited. I wanted to see, what can they do on their own without having to be stuck in the shadow of Infinity Ward? What can they possibly put out that could make me want to buy Call of Duty again? Because maybe they will do something different. Maybe they will add a completely new idea that I want to buy. And then they showed Advanced Warfare, and I was like, oh, you know what? Fuck this shit. You know, I'm already getting a sci-fi game this year, as we all know. I'm getting Destiny. It's going to have all those shits, you know, with double jumps and futuristic shit and space age crap and all that. And this one is going to go to future warfare. And it's going to have the exosuits and mechs and invisibility. Oh, fuck all that shit. There are a lot of things in Destiny that I'm really worried about when it comes out. Things that are going to absolutely piss me off in the Crucible. Although with Destiny, the majority of my time is going to be spent in the player versus environment, shit like that. I'm not going to spend too much time in the Crucible. But in Advanced Warfare, there are a number of things that worry me. There are a couple of things that I saw that I do like, and I'm going to get into those in a second. But there are a number of things that I saw that just absolutely worry me for that fucking game, because there is no way in hell, after seeing the reveal, that I would ever play that bullshit. Now, a couple of things that I did like. I like that virtual lobby crap. I know a lot of people would say, well, that's not a feature. It looked cool. I mean, it was nice to see everyone set up and shit like that. But I thought that was a pretty cool addition. I mean, obviously, you've been able to see people's loadouts or their player cards or whatever the fuck. But for the first time, you can actually see what the motherfuckers look like and what guns he's going to be using if he goes into the room and shit like that. So if someone's overpowered, has all this crazy shit, you'll be able to see it well ahead of time. Another thing that I actually like in this game is the upgradable kill streaks. Although I'm going to talk about that in a second, I do like the fact that they're doing something different with the kill streaks, as opposed to, hey, I just earned my chopper, I'm going to call it in and do nothing. No, fuck that shit. You're going to get that point where you actually get to upgrade, whether it's like 100 points more or 200 points more and shit like that, but I'm going to talk about that in a second. The main feature is obviously going to be the exosuit, where they're going to have all these abilities and perks and shit like that. You know, the exo dodge, the exo dash, the exo jump, or whatever the fuck. Basically, it looks like Titanfall meets Crysis. Now, obviously, they didn't just purposely go out and copy Titanfall. They obviously would have been able to have to develop the shit way before Titanfall was ever announced up in this motherfucker. But there are a number of things that come out of Titanfall and Crysis, like that hover stomp or whatever the fuck it is. You know, basically, they're using all the abilities of some of the other futuristic games and shit like that, whether it's Crysis, whether it's Titanfall, whether it's Resistance and shit like that. I don't know what the fuck this guy was doing. Maybe he's trying to turn on the TV. I don't know what the fuck he was doing, man. No, but anyway, just basically looking at some of those suit abilities, that's definitely not going to be for me. You already saw there were a number of people that were jumping out of bounds already. You know, when you saw some of the preview videos, they're already getting to the tops of buildings and whatnot. So I can't imagine what that balance portion is going to be like. I'm sure they're going to have some balance. They're going to have a lot of balance shit that they're going to need to do for that game. But you know what? There's just certain things that I don't like up in this motherfucker. Another thing that I noticed is it has a lot of resemblance to Black Ops 2. I don't know about you guys, but they have a lot of things that almost come straight out of Black Ops 2 where you just want to call this shit Black Ops 3. Just look at it. Look at the font in game. It's the Black Ops 2 font. You look at the medals and shit like that. You look at the way you have the kill streak set up on the side and shit like that. The wild cards are coming back. They're also going back to the 3-tier perk system. You know, they're obviously not copying Call of Duty Ghost when they came to their perk system, which is something that I like, but obviously I'm going to talk about that when I get in the PlayStation 3 video for Ghost. But they're going back to the 3-tier system, and this is something I don't get. They want to talk about having the most open creative class system ever, the most non-restrictive creative class system ever, but you're going to stick back to 3 perks and shit like that. I don't know how the fuck that dog didn't kill me. You know, it's like the stupidest dog I've ever seen. This guy, you know what, I don't give a shit, I didn't die up in this motherfucker. No, but they're talking about having the most open created class system possible. Meanwhile, they restrict you back into the 3-tier system. I just don't get it. Why are you gonna go back to that shit? It was perfectly fine in Ghost as long as the perks are balanced. But here, no, we're gonna go back to the 3-tier system. We're gonna copy the way Treyarch did things. You know what? I really don't give a shit at this point. Another thing that I mentioned was the customizable kill streaks and shit like that. Now, I don't mind that, but the one thing that I saw was that fucking grenade launcher. Holy shit, y'all saw that? You know, it started out pretty cool. It started out as a sentry gun. Okay, that's something we're used to. And then it turned into a rocket launcher, whatever. All right, that's a good upgrade. I can understand that. Then you could detach the shit, and the guy who was using it was just blowing the other team the fuck up. I was like, oh man, that's definitely gonna need some balance changes. That shit looked overpowered. I don't know about you, but they're gonna have to change some of that shit, because man, that guy was fucking people up in a minute. The other thing that they have is the co-op kill streaks and shit like that. Now, let me just say this right now. If I'm 11-1 and I get a helicopter, and you're 3-7, I don't want you jumping in my helicopter. I'm sure there are going to be restrictions. I'm sure they thought of that shit out. But it just seems a little bit odd that somebody could be on a nice little kill streak and another person who's a complete fucking scrub manages to jump in your chopper and just piggyback off of your kills and get some points for himself. I don't know about that shit. I mean, maybe you have to combine points or something. Maybe you have to have a good score to get in there. You know, I'm sure they're thinking of how to actually balance that motherfucker. But just from the look of it, I was like, oh, hell no, man. That just does not work for me up in this motherfucker, man. Now, the one thing I did like was I like that you can actually swim in the game now. You saw that? The guy jumped out of the water and actually shot a motherfucker. It's like, think about it. We have the baddest soldiers on the planet, yet these sumbitches can't swim? I mean, really? So finally, this game looks like they're going to add some swimming up in this bitch, so that actually looks pretty good. Another thing that I'm kind of worried about is that supply drop. Now, I know, you know, with Call of Duty, obviously, the longer you play, the more perks you're going to get, the more guns you're going to get, the better shit you're going to get. But in this game, it seems like, oh, the longer you play, the more in the supply drops you get. And I'm sitting there like, really? That the more you play, you're going to get shit in the supply drop? I don't get it, man. Now, I'm sure that they're going to balance it out in the future. I would have liked it to only be equipment, you know, helmets and crap like that. But whatever, man. I'm not going to worry about that shit because I'm obviously not getting in the game. So there you see the final score. Like I said, 19-5. My team was a bunch of idiots. I didn't get a chance to talk about everything in Advanced Warfare, but you know what? I have plenty of videos coming up. So as always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit. And I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video, which is not Stuck with Scrubs.